I'm Ian, and I've loved Jen, Jenny and Jennifer, three splendid women who share one soul.
My name's Jen, a 15-year-old girl who dared to love Ian. And I'm Jenny, who at 22 became a runaway bride, intent on marrying Ian, which I did. And I'm Jennifer, who at 49 married Ian in Montana, then ran away with him to Panama.
I've loved Jen, Jenny and Jennifer, three women who share the same soul. Loving Jen, Jenny and Jennifer has been a wonderful privilege, and I don't want it to ever end.
Hi, I'm the much younger Jenny, 23 years ago. I'm 45 in this photo, still living in Canada. But let's turn the clock back another 10 years, me then 35. This photo is from the back of my first cookbook, Splendid Desserts. Now let's turn the clock back another 13 years, to when I was 22, newly married, and we were finally about to enjoy our long-awaited honeymoon. Think of me as the fair maiden of the pool, reunited there with my brave long-suffering knight, after 7 years and 7 months. That was after I'd become Ian's runaway bride, at age 22, escaping mother's forced captivity of me in Canada, returning to marry Ian in Cape Town. During our subsequent honeymoon, we were back at our pool again, our secret place. It would be our last time there. We've not been back in the ensuing 46 years. Way back in our youth, it was our treasured secret meeting place. It's where our love grew and blossomed. Now it's a popular tourist spot inside of the Wilderness National Park. But in 1979 we were together there again, Ian and I, two childhood sweethearts, finally starting our much too often cruelly delayed married lives despite mother's best attempts to deny us that right. And as you can see, in broad daylight, not a moonlit illusion, as happened 4 years ago on Christmas Eve of 1975, this time Ian got to see all of me in bright sunshine. That was his mom's honeymoon advice to me, bless her heart. She was a perfect mother-in-law, a wonderful mom and grandmother. Her and I never exchanged any angry words, ever, not even one. Ian was her clear favorite. He loved her, she loved him and me, and I loved her. By contrast, my mother was jealous, cruel, spiteful and very aggressive, constantly plotting and scheming to hurt Ian and me, and later, our entire family. Sadly, that never changed. She was remarkably consistent ever since, regretting inadvertently introducing us 3 days before Christmas way back in 1971, right up to her death at 93 in faraway Canada, in September of 2024. Finally, in our late 60s, we got to enjoy our first Christmas without our lifelong enemy plotting and scheming to defeat our love for each other, by then ongoing for 53 years, now 54 years. She fancied herself as the queen in the Snow White fairy tale, mimicking her plots and schemes, all of them, no exceptions. As her firstborn, I was to be young Snow White. She was 39, totally grey with wrinkled sallow skin, unnaturally jealous of my youth. My fate was sealed. And yes, that included commanding her huntsman to take me into a cold, dark winter's night, to abandon me in a snowy, cold and desolate downtown on Christmas Eve in 1978. Sadly, that happened, breaking my heart. I was 21, in a foreign country, Canada, completely out of my depth, knowing nobody. So what was my sin? I loved my fiancé of 2 years, Ian, and wanted to marry him, the young man mother despised. So it was time for her to break my spirit once again. Sadly, her huntsman was my dad, and he obeyed her evil commands, willing to sacrifice his daughters for her. I'm not even sure how any dad could do a thing like that. Suddenly I realized that I couldn't even trust my own dad to protect me. I was devastated. That remained true for the ensuing 20 years, until one fateful early fall Sunday afternoon when Dad paid us a surprise visit. I was 40. That's the last day I ever got to see Dad. Only one final day in the ensuing 25 years from 1997 till he died at almost 92 during COVID in 2022, a fact that mother and my sister purposely and spitefully hid from me. But 9 months later, my favorite cousin Brenda, in Scotland, gave me the sad news anyway, on what would have been Dad's 92nd birthday. On our final day, as we stood hugging beneath my portrait, he asked for my forgiveness, which I freely gave him. He told me that he loved me. Then he disappeared back to the Queen, but from then on refused to obey any commands of his evil queen to hurt me or my family, ever again.
Dad's emotions were raw. He'd asked for my forgiveness and got it. Knowing that I'd only have this one day with my dad, that Mother would never let me see him or even talk to him ever again, I wasted no time. On that Sunday afternoon, I led my dad to the Lord.
If you look at the photo carefully, you'll notice tears in our eyes as we're hugging.
Dad was deeply touched, grateful.
So Ian used this occasion to ask him to find all of my childhood photos and send them to me, which he did.
Yes, of course, I was a reluctant Snow White. It's certainly not a role anyone would volunteer for.
To be more precise, I was Africa's Snow White, and with me was my faithful and brave lion-hearted defender, the love of my life.
I felt safe with him.
Ian has always loyally defended and protected me, but better yet, he's truly loved and adored me.
I like that. That's just as true now, 54 years later.
As it was when we first met 3 days before Christmas in 1971, and shared our first kiss during our first Christmas Eve together.
I have a lot of fun planning these surprises for Jennifer, generally at least one each year, and I really take them seriously, enjoying them all immensely. One of my dilemmas was that when Jenny became a runaway bride, escaping captivity in Canada and returning to marry me in Cape Town, her mother disowned her and did her best to cancel Jenny's entire childhood, of course blaming Jen and Jen's love for me, as if she was being sweet and innocent. That meant all of Jenny's childhood photos from birth to about age 19, were suddenly gone. I had some photos of Jen since about age 15 onwards, and several of Jenny after we'd met again at 19 and 20, then later many of Jennifer, our sons and me, but Jen's entire childhood had been erased. That also meant that Jenny had no contact information of relatives, who in those days, mothers tended to correspond with and keep contact with. So Jen lost contact with all of her family, not just her dad, sister, and mother. She's the one in this photo wearing yellow on the right. It would take me years, decades actually, to track down her favorite girl cousin, who changed her surname twice by the time I finally found her in England. Brenda is 1 year older than Jennifer, who adored her. Jen's wearing pink on the right, Brenda's next to her wearing yellow and green. The others are Brenda's brothers and Jen's sister. Eventually I found her and reconnected the two cousins, who now regard each other as sisters and correspond frequently. Jen's the one in a yellow dress.
Mother had said, many times, that she'd forget she'd ever had me, so why would she need my childhood photos? She'd cruelly been denying me any childhood photo memories for years, holding them all hostage, but when he got home, Dad secretly collected them all and sent them to me.
Weeks later, I had all of my childhood photos, and she had none. Mother was furious. She angrily demanded them all back.
Ian was firm in his response, saying, until you say you're sorry and ask for Jenny's forgiveness for all the cruel things you've done and said to her, and for disowning her, you'll never get to see Jenny's childhood and baby photos ever again.
She stubbornly refused.
Too late. For the last 25 years of her life, she had no photos of me, at any age.
I have them all.
Also, I refused to ever see her again, severing all contact with her, a promise I'd made to Ian when we ran away from Canada to Panama.
For 2 wonderful years, our romance blossomed. We were inseparable. Then the unthinkable happened.
Ian was off to war for 2 years in the South African Air Force, promising to write to me with his new address, but never did.
Instead, he just disappeared out of my life without a trace or any explanation? Or so I thought. We'd been so close, it just didn't seem possible, but it was my harsh new reality. I was heartbroken.
So, it turns out, was Ian?
But why?
How? Who? This painting shows us exactly 4 years later, miraculously meeting again, in the same place and on the same day we'd first met. Mother screened our mail for his letters, intercepting and throwing them away, purposely isolating us from each other for 2 long, lonely, sad years. Both of us mistakenly thought that we'd been abandoned and rejected by the other, not even suspecting foul play.
We were back together again.
Our love story resumed, with both of us now young adults.
Nothing was going to stop us now. Or so we thought. That was wishful thinking. We couldn't have been more wrong.
In high school I was 1 year behind Ian, but now we were at university together, me a sophomore, him a freshman.
Soon he proposed to me, and I accepted. Mother was horrified.
Her plans for my life seemingly thwarted. And so the stage was set for a dramatic 54-year-long battle of wills between me and the Queen, the determined lifelong sworn enemy of our love story. 7 years and 7 months after first meeting and falling in love in faraway Africa, I ran away from Mother in Canada to return to my fiancé in Cape Town to be married.
Mother was furious. And I'll let you in on a little secret.
54 years later, I'm the last one left standing. Her expressed desire that either I kneel before her, worshipping her as perfect, or failing that, die long before her, did not come true, and now it never will.
In my 60s, Dad died. My sister too, of breast cancer in Canada, at only 61.
Soon it was just the Queen and me left standing.
But I've had to battle different breast cancers in both breasts, so it sure looked like she was going to get her wish. She was jubilant, anticipating her ultimate victory over me.
But here's her baby girl at 2 and me, her 68-year-old daughter, miraculously still alive, and she's not. Her lifelong determined efforts to end my love for Ian and his love for me, was birthed in jealousy.
Instead she drove us ever closer together. And ultimately further away from her, much further.
In 2006 we ran away together, to the land of far, far away, Panama, never to return to her world. Ian and my love story has spanned 3 continents, includes 3 weddings, and ended up with us living happily ever after in a land far, far away, Panama. The first world has gotten way too crazy for us, nothing like it used to be 50 years ago. We escaped to our new land of far, far away in July of 2006, after a 23-day-long dangerous road trip from British Columbia, Canada.
Finding our well-hidden safe love nest here inside of a national park in the mountains of Panama, next to rivers, pools and waterfalls. We've all lived happily in Panama for the last 20 years. We've enjoyed living here, and we're staying.
My name's Jen, a 15-year-old girl who dared to love Ian. And I'm Jenny, who at 22 became a runaway bride, intent on marrying Ian, which I did. And I'm Jennifer, who at 49 married Ian in Montana, then ran away with him to Panama,